So we decided to do a project supporting the development, the leadership development of 20s to 30s in churches that were in deprived areas.
We've seen progress in people growing in their leadership, growing in their faith.
It did bring its challenges with it, but I think we all, saw God move in massive ways.
In 2012, Coventry Diocese were awarded some funding from the Church Commissioners to run a leadership development scheme for young adults in churches in urban priority areas. So churches were identified as being in deprived areas and were asked if they'd got anybody in their 20s and 30s who were involved in some form of leadership, either employed or voluntary. People on the scheme run youth work, run kids work, are involved in leading worship, involved in all kinds of different church leadership. And the idea of the scheme was to bring together different people from different churches of a similar age doing similar things to develop their leadership skills, train them up in church leadership and to learn from each other as well.
I would say on average in the Diocese of Coventry our churches tend to be, not exclusively so, but tend to be 5 things. They're small, elderly, white, middle class and female. And one of the questions we have to ask is, did God intend the Church of England to be like that, or have we done something that's created an accessible environment for that particular client group and very few others? And I think it's more likely to be the latter than the former. Well, Coventry Diocese has a large number of people in the 20 to 30s age range. I think it's something like 350,000 people in that age range. And a great majority of those are living in the more deprived areas. And they also happen to be an age range that's missing out of our churches on the whole. So it seemed good to combine all of that together and to do a project that was reaching 20s to 30s in more deprived areas. The scheme really involved 2 major aspects. One was being part of a learning community where the participants could learn about leadership and leadership development, and then to put that into practice by doing a project in their church for which the scheme would give £2,000 to help them develop a missional community project in their local church.
The projects that they were allowed to set up and given some funding to get going have been enormously beneficial to us, and so I've watched them grow.
It was really good to kind of run those projects alongside meeting up regularly with other members of the 20s to 30s group to see how it would work, to make sure that we've actually thought through our ideas, thought about some of the issues that we might come up with that we might not have recognised at the time.
In anything you want to do, you need the money for it to run perfectly, so it was a blessing missing always because it helped us with the funding.
We've also had some people part of the scheme that haven't done a project as such, but actually they've taken on significant leadership responsibility in the life of their church as a result. So I've lost count now of the number of church wardens that we now have in the 20s to 30s age range in churches. And to see overall the growth in confidence of the people that have been taking part in the scheme has been brilliant.
A lot of our experience has been similar, but they've also been quite different and diverse. It's been exciting to see the different things people have got involved with. So obviously, because of my role at Bardsley and the type of church, my emphasis has been on young people, but to see other people just wanting to get involved and bless other members of their congregation has been great. It's
been tough, to be honest. There's been lots of successes, there's also been lots of failures, but we would expect that. I think one of the surprising things, even to myself who's worked with people in deprived areas, is the lack of confidence.
I felt rather nervous. I wasn't really sure what it was. I wasn't really sure if being in leadership or being on a leadership course was the right thing for me. But actually that's changed and grown throughout being on the course and realising my leadership and where I stand.
I would love to see the project continue for other people in a similar situation to I was. Even in the years since the project's been running, there are more people who have entered the 20s to 30s age range, and they need to be brought on into leadership positions as well.
So where we're up to at the moment is we have launched our Accelerate project, which The idea is to grow churches faster and to grow them younger. For our project, we are fortunate enough to have been able to employ some 20s to 30s development leaders. So we're growing a team of people. They've been in post for around a month now.
There are a number of things that we've learned in this project that we're applying now right across the diocese, and there's also some additional spin-offs. So some clergy posts now are actually advertising as having an emphasis of developing 20s to 30s. We're strongly recommending that churches should have somebody under the age of 40 on every appointment panel for a clergy post in the diocese, so that the viewpoint of that particular age range is definitely represented. And I think there is a growing buzz around within the diocese that we're taking this age range seriously, and that can't be anything other than a good thing.